Well, it's Friday, and you all know what that means. As you know, New Japan Pro Wrestling has, of course, with the A block matches of the Super Junior Tag League. Well, apparently, one team made it to the finals in the A block, so we will reveal who exactly walks into that. And then, of course, we continue with AEW Rampage with several good matches. Mostly, we see, of course, matches with JD Drake, Beef, and of course the Butcher taking on LFI, and then we have Leyla Grey versus Queen Aminata, and several other matches as well. And then we move on, of course, to see who's leveling up on this latest episode of NXT Level Up. But first things first, we have Stardom. We are going to continue with more of the Goddesses of Stardom Tag League. We are now in day 3. Certain matches did announce, and I think definitely part of the tournament. We're going to see how things will progress. And of course, we have the non tournament matches as well. But we also will cap up our episode with some news updates to give you guys updated on what's been happening in the world of pro wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of pro wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, Gerard here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews with various promotions, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world. Pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, I could either put it on the next episode or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do more real-timing news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of pro wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Nike Sayaka Watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, all introductions have set aside, I believe it's time to hit the highway. So let's begin with our very first review, and this is from Stardom. Okay, Stardom, we are now in day 3 of the Goddesses of Stardom Tag League. So, this took place recently on Halloween. I don't remember the venue, just to be honest with you guys. But let's begin with some interesting non-tournament matches on this one. We did have EXV consisting of Rian and Mina Shirakawa. They face a very interesting makeshift between both Shuri and Suzuki. Now, I think many of you will see a dynamic that maybe a makeshift team will not work out pretty well. Well, it kind of did because, in a way, Rian was the weakest link out of her and Mina because, as you know, Rian is, in fact, the newest, who is the latest rookie that ever been debuting. As you all know, she debuted a few months back, and that played out pretty well. But it was Shuri with the sharpshooter that sealed the deal for her to win. But what makes it funny is Zuzu and Shuri each took one of the belts that belonged to Mina from the Ref Pro Undisputed British Women's Championship, the 2 belts. So basically, they walked away, and Mina just went a little cuckoo. So I don't know what's gonna happen there. Now, our next match, we have God's Eye, Rana Yagami and Lady C taking on another makeshift team, Saya Ida and Azumi. Now, of course, you would think that this team will not work properly, unlike what we saw with Suzu and Shuri, even though there was a moment where Azumi and Saya Ida just were beating the crap out of each other. I don't know if it was an accidental or whatever happened, but it was something that was really. But however, it was Ida who picked up the win with onto Yagami with a lariat, and just like that, it was over. Our next match is a 6-woman tag match. We got the members of Hate, consisting of Raka, Sayakami Tani, and Natsuko Tora, taking on Neo Genesis, Miyu Amasaki, Starlight Kid, and Mei Sita. So, of course, you would think that there's going to be dirty tactics coming from Hate because that's what they've been known for, dirty tactics. Now, for the record, some of you may ask, where is Momo at? Well, Momo is somewhere else at the moment, but she'll be back. But in the end, it was, of course, Saida with the Star Crusher on Amasaki that picked up the win, just like that. Now, our next 2 matches are part of the Red Goddesses block. First team, we have FWC, former Goddesses Tag League winners, Koguma and Ozuki, taking on the team of Cosmic Angels, Sayaka Kurara and Tam Nakano. Now, this is their first match in the Tag League because they haven't had their match at all from the opener all the way to now. But nonetheless, it seems like there were Tam and Kurara were working very, very well. But however, due to the experience between Koguma and Ozuki as a well-strong, well-built cohesion team, that's always been the factor, in my opinion, that allowed them to win because it was in fact Koguma with the diving body press that put away Kurara in giving them their next 2 points, allowing themselves to have a total of 4. However, Tam and Kurara only have 0 at the moment since this is their first day. Now, as we move on with the goddesses, Red Goddesses here, we have EXV consisting of Hanako and Maika taking on Peach Rock from Stars, Momokoko, and Mayu Iwatani. Now, of course, many of you would think that if Maika, who has more experience, would definitely try to pin Mayu in order to hope to get an opportunity of the IWGP Women's Championship, which I think we know that she says she wants to aim for it when she was still a champion, when she was a red belt champ, but that never came. But how unfortunately that didn't come into fruition for her because Maika was the one who put away Momokoko, allowing them to pick up their next 2 points with a total of 4 points, allowing for Peach Rock remaining at 2. Now, I think our main event, we jump into the Blue Goddesses. We have a bit of a Cosmic Angels showdown. We have, of course, Aya Sakura and Yuna Mizumori taking on, of course, former tag champions, um, members also of Cosmic Angels, Saori Ano and Natsupoi. Now, of course, many of you would think that Natsupoi and Saori Ano would pick up the win due to their experience as a tag team and all that. Yeah, I mean, it's very possible, but I have to say, Sakura has grown significantly better. I mean, we saw what she did in the Umaja tournament. She has great potential. So does um, Mizumori. But however, it was, of course, Natsupoi with the real fairy gift that put away Sakura in order for her and Saori Ino to pick up the win. And they posted out a good promo. I'm sure they gave props to them for the well job done, giving them a good fight. And I'm sure they see a lot of potential in them. But yeah, we'll see how things will go. But as for Saori Natsupoi, they actually received 4 points in total with their latest win. So I think they are currently undefeated, in my opinion. But we'll see how things will progress with them. But we end things here and move on with New Japan. we continue with more with New Japan Pro Wrestling with Super Junior Tag League. Now we're going to focus on the A block matches. Now our first match, we have the Skateboard Brothers, consisting of Dragon Dia and Ryosuke Taguchi, taking on Tiger Tigre Suicida, consisting of Capitan Suicida and Tiger Max. Now remember, Tigre Suicida are the only team that were at the bottom of the barrel. So you can say that this could be an opportunity for them to try to pick up 2 points. Now, of course, many would say that Dragon Dia and Ryosuke Taguchi didn't have a good start, but they were able to pick up 2 good wins. However, in this case, it was Capitan Suicida that was able to submit Dragon Dia, giving them their first 2 points. So basically, even though they were eliminated out of the tournament, that gives them a little bit of satisfaction that they were able to do something at this point, even though they do not progress any further from there. Now, but this is the point system that happened. Skateboard Brothers remain at 4 points, while Tiger Suicida 2 points. Now on to the next match. We have the most hated group ever, House of Losers, Kanemaru and Sho, taking on the Ichiban Sweet Boys, Kosa Fujita and Robbie Eagles. Now, of course, it's no secret that the House of Losers attempt to cut their way through by cheating. And they did that with the help of Yujiro, Bell in the ring, but none of that helped because it was in fact Fujita that picked up the win for their next 2 points, leading them now with 8 points. However, this is where the crucial part happened. After they win, they made the choice to remain ringside for obvious reason. Apparently, the team that could jump the line is none other than the Bullet Club War Dogs, Drilla Maloney and Clark Connor. So they stayed around for that. While they were doing that, the War Dogs were facing against LIJ. Now, of course, you would think that the War Dogs would definitely try to pick up wins because that's exactly what they were going to do. They tried everything in the book, but in the end, it was the Hiromu roll that made the difference onto Clark Connors to pick up the win for Hiromu and Bushi to pick up their next 2 points, leading up to 4, while the War Dogs remain at 6. However, it was announced that due to this match, it put, of course, the Ichiban Sweet Boys in the finals of Super Junior Tag League, leading the War Dogs not happy with the result, knowing that they could have been the one to do it rather than them, but it did. So the real question you ask yourselves, who will be going to the finals in the B block? Well, I presume that could be in the next episode or so, but we'll see what happens until then. But congratulations, Ichiban Sweet Boys. You guys are heading up to the finals. Now let's move on with our next review, and I believe that is AEW Rampage. Okay, AEW Rampage opened up with LFI, consistent of Roosh, his brother Delistico, and Beast Mortos taking on Beef, JD Drake, and the Butcher. Now, of course, you look at Beef, JD Drake, and the Butcher, 2 of the biggest men. But when it comes to LFI, they don't give a rat's ass how big they are, long as they are looking for someone to punish. That's always been their end game because they're sending a direct message to the entire locker room that they're not here to play games. They're not here to fool around. Now, of course, you would see some parts of the moment where, of course, Beef would try to do what he can, but it's not enough. But unfortunately, it was the Butcher who ended up on the wrong side when he got the bull horns from Roosh. You know, the old saying goes, you mess with the bull, you get the horns, and that's exactly what Roosh did. He gave him the bull horns, and just like that, it was over. LFI walked away with the win. Now, we did see a bit of a interview with Stokely Hathaway. He's trying to take credit that of what Private Party did this past Wednesday. Bullshit. But anyway, I don't know what he said. He calls himself the architect or something like that. But some people are calling him the instigator of some sorts. But I don't know. But let's jump into our next match. We have Taya Valkyrie versus Zoe Lynn. Well, I can tell you this match ended with Taya Valkyrie applying the curb stomp, and just like that, it was over. But however, Stokely Hathaway kind of instigated another problem by telling Taya Valkyrie that her opponent was saying these mean comments to her, and and then Taya ran out to beat the crap out of her. I don't know what Stokely Hathaway, that bald-headed nugget, was trying to think of, but he really outdid himself again for being the little weasel that he is. Our next match, we have Queen Aminata versus Leyla Grey. This is a good opportunity for Leyla Grey to get her feet wet, but of course, Queen Aminata, we know how great she is, how good she has, very impressive, but it was no match for Leyla Grey when Queen Aminata put her in a submission, and just like that is over. However, we did see her compatriots, Top Flight, Dante and Darius Martin, and Action Andretti in their trios match against the Dark Order. However, like last time, we didn't notice how Alex Reynolds' ribs were hurting him, but Action Andretti decided to go after those ribs. Dante was not having it, and then of course it was the leg split moonsault by Action that picked up the win for the team. You can tell Darius and Martin are not liking this, that he is targeting Reynolds' ribs one way or the other. And then, of course, Leo Rush comes out to do his thing, face Commander. But, of course, Commander really walked out with the win when he applied the Shooting Star Press, giving him the win. But during the post-match, Action Andretti handed the bandages that were around Reynolds' ribs to Leo Rush. Now, there's been talk about the possibility that Leo and Action could walk away as heels. Maybe try to embrace what Jon Moxley was talking about. Maybe that's what they're going, but we'll see what happens down the road with these guys. But as of right now, we'll end things here. Move on with NXT Level Up. So who levels up on this latest episode of NXT Level Up? Let's find out. First match, we have Brinley Reese. No, never mind. It's Carly Bright versus Lainey Reed. Now, the last two matches you may have saw, Lainey Reed has cut corners. Now, the obvious question you probably ask yourselves, will she do it again? Well, in the beginning, it wasn't necessary, but Carly Bright, we have seen how much she has grown a bit. From her short time being with WWE, that's always been the case. But there was a moment you noticed she grabbed Carly's hair in order to cheat, and that's exactly what she did. And then she applied it in a reverse DDT onto her, and then just like that, picked up the win. And of course, she had to be all cocky about it during an interview, about that. So sooner or later, someone has had to shut her up. But that's not today. Now we jump into our main event, which was, of course, Oro Mensah versus Nico Vance. Now, of course, Oro Mensah, who has more experience than Nico Vance combined, he has grown significantly a bit. But, Oro Mensah has more experience, but Nico Vance, barely. But he seems like the strongest individual. But in this case, Oro Mensah does not have Jakara Jackson or Lash Legend by his side, so he had to do things on his own. It took at least two spinning heel kicks in order to get the job done, and that's exactly what he did. Just two. And then the first one was a fail, but the second try, instant aim, and just like that, he picked up this win. So I think that's it for NXT Level Up. So let's move on with our last and final thing, and I believe that is news updates. Okay, so welcome to our news updates. So let's begin with upcoming events. We only have two. The first one is from GCW. They'll be in LA on December 14th for the highest in the room at the UCC. Four names have been mentioned to participate in this event. Matt Cardona, Mance Warner, Mega Bane, Matthew Justice, and of course, Josh Barnett. And then, of course, in the start of January of 2025, West Coast Pros with their late event, Only the Strong Survive, our current tag team champions, the Crush Boys, Titus Alexander, and, of course, Starboy Charlie will be in action. So it's still unclear who they'll be facing. I wouldn't be surprised if those nincompoops, those suavecitos, would demand a rematch, but we'll see. Now for some more developments are happening. Many of you have been questioning for a long while, will ROH have a TV deal? Well, it appears that there is a possibility. Of Fightful selects that there's been negotiations to close a TV deal for ROH, and it makes perfect sense because recently, if you guys remember, Chris Jericho said that he will be making his mark in ROH. So it would make sense because um, Chris Jericho, we know he's a higher good wrestler who, in fact, with a well-respected name. So that could be a possibility for that. So we'll see. Um, there has been names of WWE releases. Indy Hartwell and Tegan Knox. Indy was not aware of this, so she was a bit of surprise. And of course, they mentioned Baron Corbin. Now I know some of you think that they might end up in AEW and all this, but we'll just wait and see what happens. I mean, and Baron Corbin, I heard that his contract is almost up or something. We don't know, but we'll stick to it on like cops on donuts. And then finally, many of you may have heard the story that somebody made played an impostorship on Alexis Bliss, on a man who gave away $1 million, which was really really sad. And I can't believe this guy got scammed. I don't know what this guy was thinking, but hopefully Alexis Bliss um, sees this and realizes that somebody's been using her name. I know people would often say when they hear like, "Oh, this person has their," they normally say, "I don't have." Some say they don't have a Facebook. Others will say they don't do. Others will say they don't have an Instagram. All of that, but they always say that this is not them. You got to keep an eye on the name itself when it's legitimized. So hope things work out with this guy when things are resolved. So we'll see where this leads to that. I think that's pretty much it. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, as you all know, we have AEW Collision. I'm not sure if I'm going to be watching Crown Jewel. That is still on debate. But for now, we'll just leave things as is. I do know recently we do have more with New Japan and Stardom continuing with their annual tournaments. So we'll see what that goes. But for now, we'll leave things as it is. And if there's any other events that I haven't checked out, I'll put those. There's still some I haven't seen from last month since we're now in November. So we'll see what happens. But for now, we'll leave things as it is. And then we'll move forward. But until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day.